in Kaufering 1, a subcamp of the Dachau concentration camp system. Despite the desperate state of the Nazi war effort, the meticulous concentration camp authorities were still recording admission details for each new prisoner that was brought in. Ironically, the Nazis were bringing thousands of Jews from Eastern Europe back to a Judenrein, Germany, as slave laborers, in a doomed attempt to prevent their defeat. Elly is described in an admission document as Eliezer, his traditional Jewish name, as belonging to the Jewish race and to the Jewish religion, and his vocation is listed as Schlosser, locksmith. I believe that this description of Elly as a Schlosser, a profession that Elly had learned in the vocational school of the Kovno ghetto, symbolizes the way this memoir is a vital key to opening up a piece of history, and can also shape our understanding of Elly's amazing personality and unusual subsequent history. Elly Gotz was born in the city of Kaunas, Lithuania, on March 8, 1928. Kaunas, known by the Jews as Kovno, was at that time the interim capital of the newly founded Republic of Lithuania. Elly was 12 when the Soviet Union forced independent Lithuania to capitulate and request to be annexed to the USSR. He was 13 when Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union and reached his hometown within 24 hours. From a relatively worry-free childhood in Lithuania, Elly found himself under Soviet tyranny and then murderous Nazi occupation, was deported back into the Reich, liberated by the Americans, and then set out on journeys to Norway, Rhodesia, and South Africa, and finally found a home again in Canada. Elly is a Holocaust survivor. He survived the trials and tribulations of the Kovno ghetto, where he and his family were incarcerated for almost 3 years. He survived the last 10 months of the ghetto existence, when it was turned over to the SS and run as a brutal concentration camp. And when Elly and his parents were forcibly reported to concentration camps in Germany, Elly survived the horrible hardships of the Kaufering concentration camp. According to scholar Dalia Offer, two things characterized the lives of those incarcerated in ghettos and camps. The inmates lived in a so-called coerced society, and they were always under the threat of imminent death. Another historian, Lawrence L. Langer, coined the term choiceless choices to describe the unprecedented situations of conflict that the Jews found themselves in during the Holocaust. As a result of these conditions, most survivor testimonies read like similar versions of hell. There was the deprivation of much of their humanity, the starvation, the slave labor, the sword of Damocles hanging over their heads, and the understanding that their fate sometimes did not depend on anything they did, which was a debilitating awareness to have. Yet, as we read Elly's tragic yet fascinating memoir, we get to know a person who played an amazing range of roles in his life. Before the Nazi occupation, during his incarceration in Nazi camps, and after liberation, Elly Gotz was, among other things, a mischievous student, a communist pioneer, an apprentice, a locksmith, a blacksmith, a radio technician, an electric transformer manufacturer, a student of Norwegian, a Zionist activist, a snooker player, a film producer, an animator, an advertiser, a horseback rider, and a sharpshooter. He hunted crocodiles, practiced fishing, learned to be a pilot, and recently, at the age of 89, fulfilled his lifelong wish to become a free-fall skydiver. But above all,